One of the strangest sights on Rapa Nui is not a statue standing upright. It is a giant face beside the road, half in the grass, as if an ancestor collapsed on the way home. These Moai look less like ruins than interruptions. Their eye sockets are unfinished. Their bodies were never fully prepared for ceremony. And for centuries they have made the same accusation. Whatever system moved us, it was real, difficult, and capable of failure. Rapa Nui is isolated enough that Captain James Cook wrote in 1774 that he could hardly conceive how its people had raised such stupendous figures. Yet they did more than raise them. From roughly the 13th century onward, island communities carved more than 1,000 Moai, most of them from Rano Raraku. A recent 3D survey built from over 11,000 drone images found 30 separate quarrying zones, hundreds of trenches and quarried voids, and even stone bollards that may have helped lower statues down steep slopes. It looks less like one ruler commanding a labor force than many kin groups working at once. The work began in the crater itself. Carvers cut around a figure still attached to bedrock by a stone keel. They worked in more than one style. Some shaped the face first, some blocked out the whole body, and on near vertical rock they even carved sideways into the cliff. When the form was nearly free, holes were drilled through the keel. The statue was detached and slid into a pit so the back could be finished upright. A single Moai may have had only 4 to 6 carvers on the stone, with another 10 to 20 people supplying tools, rope, and food. Roads ran outward from the quarry, and along them the island still keeps its evidence. 92 statues recorded in transit. The strongest current explanation is that many of these road Moai were meant to walk, not magically, mechanically. Their bodies lean forward. Their bases are broad, sometimes D-shaped, and their weight sits low enough for controlled rocking. In the 2012 replica experiment, 18 people moved a 4.4-ton Moai, 100 meters in 40 minutes, by pulling ropes from side to side. One archaeologist said it looked like the statue was dancing. Newer modeling suggests a team might have needed 15 to 60 people to start one moving and far fewer to keep it going. That elegance is exactly why the failures matter. Fewer than a third of recorded Moai reached a final ahu, and the ahu were not placed randomly. Newer research suggests many stood near freshwater seeps along the coast, where groundwater emerged through porous rock on an island with no permanent streams. Early Europeans thought the Rapa Nui were drinking seawater. They were probably seeing freshwater discharge instead. The Moai were not just political theater, staring over empty plazas. They marked places where communities gathered around one of the island's most limited necessities. Only after a statue reached its ahu were its eye sockets cut. Then white coral and dark obsidian were set into the face to awaken it. Before that moment, the giant on the road was powerful but unfinished, a body without its gaze. This is where the old morality play starts to fail. For years, Easter Island was used as a fable about people who cut down every tree to drag bigger monuments until they destroyed themselves. The newer picture is meaner, messier, and more human. Palm loss involved people, but also drought and rats eating seeds. Food production appears smaller and more sustainable than collapse mythology once claimed. Population estimates at European contact cite in the low thousands, not the ghosts of a vanished empire. None of that makes the abandoned statues less haunting. It makes them more interesting. They belong to a society inventive enough to move stone giants upright, practical enough to build shrines near water, and vulnerable enough to leave work unfinished. Rapa Nui is often compared to Stonehenge whenever historians argue about how ancient people moved the impossible. But the sharper comparison is to every civilization turned into a sermon. On this island, the road Moai refuse that role. They show process, not just monument, labor, not just legend. And in the long pause between quarry and platform, they preserve a harder truth than mystery usually allows. Sometimes the ancestors did walk, and sometimes they did not make it. If you liked what you watched, please like and subscribe. We post interesting and crazy stories from throughout history every Wednesday and Saturday. Yesterday's craziness, because yesterday was crazy too.